visitation. Peter Poss, Rita's supervisor at Timken, gave her the day off, dropped her at the bus station, and underwrote her journey. Poss also agreed to pick Rita up at 5 p.m. and deliver her home by supper time so as not to arouse May's suspicions. The visit to St. Paul's Shrine was overwhelming. Located at the corner of Euclid Avenue and East 40th Street in Cleveland, the Victorian Gothic church was a citadel of the ancient faith in the modern world. Constructed in 1875, the massive sandstone church seemed propelled heavenward by a spiral bell tower encircled by 4 minaret-like turrets. Attached to the side of the church stood a 5-story brick monastery built in 1931. Rita entered the intimidating structure with some reticence. Sister Magdalene, a genial nun, ushered her into a parlor draped in shadows. The pronounced silence and the thick metal grill probably disturbed Rita. When she attempted to initiate conversation, hoping someone on the other side would respond, a door on the grill began to move. Silently like ghosts, 2 nuns stood on the other side of the open grate, wearing deep brown habits, black veils drawn over their faces. Rita stared at the shadowy figures. She had never been inside a monastery before, nor had she ever encountered nuns like these. The sisters slightly raised their veils, introducing themselves in subdued German-accented voices. One was Reverend Mother Mary Agnes, the abbess of the monastery. The other, Mother Mary Clare, was the vicar. For some time, the nuns discussed their way of life and their expectations for apostolate. Rita considered the surroundings and the strange ways of the nuns, and then, perhaps without fully understanding why, she arrived at a decision. I thought, well, Lord, this is where you want me. This is where I'm going. Before leaving, Mother Agnes asked Rita if she wished to be a first choir sister or a second choir sister. First choir sisters sang the divine office each day and took solemn vows. Second choir sisters were lay sisters and attended to the day-to-day cleaning of the monastery. Not understanding the distinction, Rita replied, I'll try singing. Oh, can you sing alto? Mother Agnes beamed. We need one so badly. Even though May had said she was tone deaf, Rita agreed to sing alto and became a first choir sister. This was another providential thing, Mother Angelica told me. If I hadn't been a first choir sister, I could have never been an abbess. Lay sisters were not allowed to be superiors, and once you made your decision, you could not transfer to the other state. Rita promised to enter the monastery on August 15, 1944, at the age of 21. Upon returning to Canton, Rita described the wonders of the Cleveland monastery to her friend Elsie and shared her plans for departure. I just thought, well, you go, girl, Machuga recalled later. On a Friday afternoon in 1944, Rhoda Wise lay in her bed, under the influence of a painful ecstasy. While her wounds bled, she began to speak. It was the only time Catherine Barthel could recall Wise saying anything during one of her supernatural agonies. Rita? My Rita, was all Wise said. Later, when Barthel questioned the statement, Wise claimed to have been responding to something Jesus had told her about Rita Francis. Interviewed in the 1980s, Barthel offered no further clue as to what that something was. Visitors to the Wise home later remembered the mystic prophesying that Rita would do great things for the church. Mother Angelica herself received word of this pronouncement. While impossible to verify, the statements are ultimately not as important as the mark Rhoda Wise would leave on Rita Rizzo. From Mrs. Wise, Rita personally learned that suffering could be a gift from God. This lesson would powerfully shape her religious life and the lives of countless others. Where direct communication with the divine would be skeptically dismissed by most, Rita, after her association with Wise, considered it something natural, even commonplace. To young Rita, mystical experiences with the saints or Christ himself were not to be dismissed or questioned, but heeded and acted upon. In August 1944, Rita visited the Wise house for what she expected to be the last time. Decades later, Rita would inherit the home and establish a shrine there. Though it is infrequently visited today, The house and the woman who owned it remained close to the heart of Rita Rizzo. At the Gianfrancesco home, Rita relished her final moments, secretly recording images of her family that would have to last a lifetime. Although she could share her decision to enter religious life with friends and strangers, Rita could not bring herself to inform May. Unable to gauge her mother's reaction, Rita said nothing, and on August 15, 1944, she left the house for work, as usual. Peter Poss drove her to the bus station, once again paid her passage to Cleveland, and promised to send, by special delivery, a letter she had written to May Francis. This was the only way Rita could go through with her decision. As the bus doors closed on her difficult childhood, the shattered family, and the burden of May, Rita looked to a serene future with her love, Jesus. Thoughts of prayer and silence contended with the guilt of abandoning her closest friend on earth. Still, she had to proceed with the elopement. It was what God wanted. Soon locked away from the world, Rita expected to be free of its concerns. As she completed the 60-mile journey to her new home, Canton receded into memory. She imagined she would never see it again, and that she would gently slip into a new life of submissive anonymity